mystery writers. Welcome to Write a Killer Mystery, where we learn to make a good mystery great. My name is Zara Altair, and today we're going to talk about unveiling setting secrets for your mystery. We've got 5 tips for crafting your mystery world that makes your readers really love reading your mystery. Okay, first, I want to thank my patrons on Patreon for their continued support. And if you like and enjoy this video series and find it helpful, we'd love to see you and your support and have special videos and articles in Patreon. And the link is in the description below. I'd love to see you there. So, if you want to take your mystery to the next level, creating a world that's believable and intriguing is going to help you hook your readers. And so today I wanted to talk about 5 pro tips that will keep your readers guessing until the end. And yeah, it's all about setting. It's like where your story takes place, what's happening in that story world. So you want to start with a solid foundation. So before you begin crafting the details of your setting, make sure you have a clear understanding of the basics, where you are. So this includes things like very basic stuff, the time period, the location, and the overall tone of your story, because those are all going to come together to make your mystery more interesting. And once you have a solid foundation, you can start adding layers to complete your world. The second point is you want to make it believable. Even if it's a futuristic story, you want to make it believable in the details within that story world. So, in a world filled with mystery, your readers need to be able to suspend their disbelief. They need to be into the story. You don't want to throw them out of the story going, wait, what's going on? Where are they? You don't want them to do that. You want to keep them in the story, right? So make sure your set is grounded in reality and that the rules of your world are consistent. And I think that's especially important if you're writing either historical mystery or futuristic mysteries, that you want to make sure that the rules of the world, how things operate, are all consistent. Even if they don't match today's rules of how life goes, you want to make sure that the rules inside your story make sense for your time period. All right. So this is going to help your readers immerse themselves in your story and become fully invested in your characters and plot. I mean, it's like, it's lots of talk about characters, bringing the story to life, which is true, and about plotting, because in a mystery you want to introduce those clues and those suspects and keep your reader guessing. But setting plays a major part in that too. So, and then, because it's a mystery, it's fun to add a dash of the unknown. A good mystery novel is all about the unknown. Your detective's job is to discover the truth. So don't be afraid to add a touch of the unknown in your story world. This can be as simple as a hidden underground tunnel or a mysterious fog-shrouded island. The room with a door that nobody ever opens. It can be that simple, but just a little bit of intrigue in your story. because that helps keep your readers guessing. But the key is to make sure that the unknown elements in your setting are integral to the story and not just there to be mysterious. All right? You need to make them part of your story. Every single part of your setting needs to be part of the story. All right. And then the biggie, I know I've talked about this before, is using sensory details to bring that world that you've created and that you're immersing your reader in, to bring it to life with sensory details. And the best way to bring your scene alive is to use those 5 senses that transport your reader into that world. Everybody can see and hear and touch and smell and taste. And if you add those ingredients into your story, it helps your reader connect with where they are and what your characters are experiencing within that story world. And don't forget to use all 5 senses in your story. My suggestion is 2 to 3 senses per scene. You don't have to overload every scene, but you want to make sure that you have at least 2 and probably 3 sensory elements in each scene, because it helps ground your reader and makes it feel for them like they are there and the setting is real. All right. And then the last point I want to make about your story world is you want to keep your characters and make them part of the setting. It isn't like characters are doing this and then, oops, stop, long descriptive narrative about the setting. You want your characters to interact with that setting, and you want the setting to influence what your characters are doing. So your characters need to be deeply connected to the setting in your story, and this means not just physically, are they hot or cold or wet or dry or whatever, but emotionally and psychologically as well. How are your characters responding to this hot, dry air, or to this seemingly endless rainy season? And those emotional responses that your characters have make that setting even more real, and it comes alive, and your characters, your readers feels like they're there and they understand where they are, even if they've never physically been to this story world that you've created. You want them to feel like they are there as they're reading the story. And you want to make your setting unique to your story, right? It's important to stand out and give readers something new and exciting, and setting can do that. Think about specific details that make your setting special. Always something in the details around your character that is unique, all right? And this can be anything from a quirky landmark to a local legend. It's just like, make it unique in your story, bring that story world to life. They make your setting more interesting, but they add that depth and texture that readers connect with. So if you're, for example, if your story's set in a small town, you can focus on the town's annual pumpkin festival or whatever. They're just like, this is the thing that happens in this town every year, or the legend of the ghost that haunts the local cemetery, or whatever that might be. And don't forget the atmosphere. Oh, is it gloomy? Is it foggy? Is it sunny? Is it bright? So those things help set the mood for the scene as well. I lost my train of thought. The mood of the scene from the details of of your setting. And this is one of the places where your characters can interact emotionally with the setting. So gloomy and dark. Is your character afraid? Are they just going to go for it, whatever it is they're doing, no matter what, even if it's gloomy and dark? So you can give that emotional connection with your setting. So I brainstormed some ideas about how you want to use your story world, and also how your story world can influence your story. Once you get that big detail of where you are and what time period and all that, how can your story world actually impact what goes on in your story? How does it influence the characters? How does it influence the suspects? How does it influence how your detective relates to the clues? There's just many, many ways that you can bring that setting in so it isn't just a backdrop behind all the characters. It's actually part of the scene. That's what's going to make it feel real for your characters. So by following these tips, you can create a mystery world that's both captivating and believable. Those are the two things you want: captivating and believable. The key to a mystery novel is to keep your readers guessing, and you can use setting to help keep those readers guessing. And currently I am listening to Peter May's The Chessmen on Audible, and Audible is a sponsor for Write a Killer Mystery. So if you haven't experienced listening to stories, you can get a 30-day free trial. There's a link in the description below. Well, I really like listening to other authors and see how they do this, but one of the things that struck me about Peter May is how his settings are really integral to his stories. They aren't just backdrops, and he has settings from the Hebrides to Paris, and no matter where the story is set, he brings in those details and makes them not just there, but important to the story and important to actually solving the mystery. So if you're wondering how somebody does that, Peter May is a really great example, and it's wonderful listening to his stories on Audible, because especially for the ones that are set in Scotland, the narrator is Scottish, so you get that true feel of what the story's like and how all the characters are speaking. All right, thank you very much. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. Thank you for being here, and keep writing.